Hey folks, it's Teresa here from Stringfield Ridge Farm. Today we have a really bad glare, and that is from the snow outside. The sun is hitting that snow, and it is so bright you can't look outside without going blind. So ignore the glare. Ignore the fact that I have no makeup on because I have been working from home and I have been snowed in for a week, and I just don't care. I'm just not putting makeup on. Don't care. I have a jar of dehydrated eggs that are 2 years old. Well, we're going to open these up and see how they do. And so watch this. So here's my jar of dehydrated eggs that I done in April of 22. And we're going to open these up and rehydrate and scramble some eggs. Now, I got to be honest, I already have used a jar of these and they were fine. I'm going to just do this one so I can give my opinion as I go along and show you what I'm doing as I go along, because I did not video the first jar. I got out a jar about a week or two ago, and since my hens are not laying very well for the winter, actually the last few days in this whole week we've had extreme cold weather and snow. Had a little ice and then snow, and they haven't laid at all. Before that, we normally get about 12 eggs a day, and they had cut back to about half of that, about 6 a day, and then they cut down to where we were getting 2 or 3 a day. And through this really cold, harsh weather, we've not gotten any. And so I had run out of fresh eggs, and I do have some that are in mineral oil. I've used a few of those, and they are fine. They've been in mineral oil in the refrigerator for about a year, and I used some of those. And then I was baking, and I got out a jar to rehydrate some, because this is probably better for either baking or scrambled. So first off, I'm going to open this jar. You heard that seal. It's sealed good. I dehydrated, and I do have a video on dehydrating eggs. And then I vacuum sealed them. And after I open them, I will put the lid, after I use some, I'll put the lid back on with a ring and keep it in the refrigerator. And it only took me about a week to use them up, because I have been having scrambled eggs every morning, and then I had baked, I made some cornbread. I made some keto cornbread, low-carb cornbread with some. And then I had scrambled eggs every morning, and so I went through a jar in about a week doing all that. So here's what we do. I do double water. So I do 1 part egg to 2 parts water. So 1 part of my dehydrated egg. This is a 2 tablespoons. So I'm going to do 1, whoops, got a little much, 2. So that is 4 tablespoons. And that's going to be a lot of egg. But this morning I'm going to share it with Lee. He's going to try it too. He is home from work, and he's going to try some. And so I'm going to put that lid back on, get that put in the refrigerator. And I'm going to use, I used 4 tablespoons of dehydrated egg. I'm going to use 8 tablespoons of warm water. Now, like I said, I have already done this, so I know that it it doesn't rehydrate quite as easily as it does when it's fresher. So this is 2 years old, and it is taking quite a while for it to rehydrate. Normally it would rehydrate in like 10 minutes, but I'm gonna let it sit double that because it's taking a while for it to rehydrate. Okay, there's my good warm water. And then I take a fork. Okay, I spilled some of that. Let's wipe that off of here. You can feel that under my hands. Okay. I like to take a fork and kind of whisk that good. I can take a little whisk. I have a little whisk over there somewhere, but I just take a fork and kind of whisk it and press it so that it's really smashing those granules. And I will whisk this good and let it sit. And then while it's sitting, I have come back and whisk again a little bit, a couple of times, and then whisk it really good before you actually do it. And I like to use a cast iron skillet for most things. Scrambled eggs is one of those things I like to use a cast iron skillet for. I use a cast iron skillet a lot, but I do have a different skillet that came with my pans that is non-stick, and it's granite. It's granite and it's non-stick, and I love that for anything that might be sticky because it is absolutely non-stick. I mean, things just slide right out of that thing, and it is granite. So I use that when if I'm gonna do something that has cheese in it or something like that gets sticky. So let's whisk that up really good, because especially with it being as old as it is, 2 years old, it really gets some granules and some thicker pieces that don't want to rehydrate as easily. All right, so I'm gonna let that sit. I'm gonna let that sit about 10 minutes, and then I'll come whisk it again, and then about another 10 minutes, I'll whisk it really good and cook it. Meanwhile, I'll get these put in the refrigerator, clean up a little bit, and we'll be ready. We'll be back. All right, folks, I'm sorry about that glare again. There's a little bit of a glare back this way. Can't be helped. We have snow and the sun shining, and boy, it is bright out there. You need sunglasses just to look outside. So I'm going to put a little butter in here. This is real butter. This is real butter. We don't use margarine anymore. We haven't used margarine since we found out how bad margarine is for you about 7 or 8 years ago. We quit using margarine and we use real butter. I catch it on sale. When I can catch it on sale, I'll buy 3 or 4 at a time and put in the freezer. And so there you go. You don't catch it on sale much anymore though, right? So I like to use a great big heaping helping. Probably, that's probably a tablespoon and a half, probably not even 2 tablespoons. And I'll put that in my cast iron skillet, turn that on low. I scramble eggs on low, real low, and let them cook, and kind of not turn them fast. You whisk them good before you put them in the pan. And this is how I do all eggs, not just the dehydrated eggs. I'm cooking the dehydrated eggs the same way I do all eggs, and that is whisk them real good before you put them in the pan. But after you put them in the pan on a low heat, you let them sit for a little bit. Don't start just whisking them, and then you just flip them. And that's the way I watched a long time ago. I watched the Townsends cook eggs this way, and it's delicious. And that's how I've cooked them ever since. So I'm going to put a little real salt in here. We like Redmond's real salt. I'm going to put a little bit of that in there. And I like a little pepper. So I'm going to do just a dash of pepper in there. And then Lee likes garlic powder in his eggs. If I'm just doing them for myself, I don't really add the garlic powder, but he likes it, so we'll use just a little for him. There he goes. So, Mr. Willie, if you see this, I am doing this for Lee. So, you can, you know, be happy that I'm treating Lee good. So, I'm whisking this again. Now, I'm going to beat this really good before I pour it in that pan. Trying to give that butter just a minute to get melted. I've also got a couple of avocados here I'm going to cut up with, slice up and have with this. And that'll be breakfast, a little toast for Lee. I do have some keto bread. I know it's probably not good for you, but I am going to have a piece of keto toast. And so there you go. Let me whip this up and get this. Here we go. All right, let's get this going. That spread out in there. All right. Another benefit of using cast iron is that it actually gives your food some iron. So that is kind of just an added benefit. I love using cast iron anyway. And there's lots of benefits of using cast iron, and one of those is that it adds iron to your food. So learned that several years ago too. All right, let me really get this worked up here. It is dehydrating really well. It's a little, I'm gonna say gritty, but it doesn't. You don't taste that or you know, it kind of goes ahead. I guess the heat kind of goes ahead and rehydrates it a little more because it looks gritty in here, but it's not when you cook it. So, at least I don't think it is. Lee's kind of picky anyway, so who knows what he'll say. All right, here we go. I'm just going to pour this in. And I will just let that sit a minute. If you want to go to where I learned how to cook a really good scrambled egg, check out the Townsends. I don't remember the name of the video. It was years ago, several years ago. But he was doing scrambled eggs over a fire, over an open fire in a cast iron skillet. And it wasn't an open fire. It wasn't an open fire. I said that wrong. He had a fireplace and he had just hot coals. It wasn't an open fire. He had dug coals out of the open fire and laid them over here and put his skillet on that so that it was a low heat. And he just put them in the pan and let them low heat slowly start to cook on the bottom, and then flip them several times. And then you cut the heat off right before you think they're done. You cut the heat off because the skillet will continue to cook them. So, man, that glare is terrible, y'all. I'm so sorry. If you want to know how to dehydrate eggs, I have a video on that I will post in the description below, and at the end of this video it will pop up. So you can watch how to dehydrate eggs and know that they last at least 2 years. 2 years in, you really have to rehydrate them good, and probably more use them for baking than anything. and you can get by with scrambling them. So they're not the best scrambled eggs in the world, but they're decent enough. And like I said, I've been eating them all week, every morning, all week, me and Fancy. And this will be Lee's first try, if I can get him to try it. So we'll see. All right, I've pulled you on over here closer so we can get a good look. This is starting to cook on the bottom. And I'm just going to flip this around back and forth and break it up a little bit. I probably should have already flipped that. I waited just a minute too long. I should have already flipped that because it's sticking a little. But you'll get the idea here. I should have flipped it about a minute in. And I waited a good couple of minutes. So it's kind of a little past. Yeah, well, that's okay. You get the idea. So there you go. I had to kind of chop that up a little bit. Like I said, I let it go too long before I started flipping it. And so I had to kind of chop that up good. So there it is. It's done. So there you go. There is my plate. I have some avocado, some scrambled eggs, and a piece of Ezekiel. It is Ezekiel bread. Ezekiel bread, avocado, and our scrambled eggs. So I'm going to take a bite. I already know what it tastes like. I've done it before. It is fine. Let's see. Let's get a real live. It tastes like scrambled eggs. I mean, it doesn't have any grittiness. It just tastes like scrambled eggs, y'all. Now, it does not get fluffy like if you like the fluffy eggs, the way I cook them slow, it doesn't get fluffy anyway. And I don't stir them once they're in the skillet. And so Lee likes fluffy eggs, and he likes to just stir his up while they're in the skillet cooking. I don't do that. I let them sit. You saw, I let them sit, and they just don't get fluffy. So maybe we'll just get. She's waiting. Look at her. She is waiting, patiently waiting right now. Sometimes she's impatient and begs, but right now she's patiently waiting. She knows she's going to get a little bit of egg. She's even knows what I'm talking about, I think. Do you know I'm talking about, you Fancy? Do you want to eat some eggs? Do you want to eat some eggs? Huh? Do you want to eat some eggs? Oh, yeah. I bet you want to eat some eggs, don't you? So anyway, I'm going to enjoy mine, give her a little bit, and hopefully I will save some, and when Lee comes in, he will try them, and maybe I'll add that on to the end of this video. So I'm going to sit down and enjoy mine, and Fancy's going to enjoy her eggs. Are you going to eat some eggs? Yep, you're going to eat some eggs and enjoy them? Yeah. Thanks for watching, y'all. Try dehydrated eggs. They save really well, and when you are in the middle of winter like we are, when you're in the middle of winter like we are and not getting any egg, you can have some eggs for baking or scrambled eggs. I also have some water glassed, and I have some in the refrigerator in the bottom in the crisper with mineral oil on them. And I think I've showed videos on that before. If I can find one, I'll post it in the description below too, along with the dehydrating the egg video. So there you go. Have some eggs, even in the middle of winter. Okay, Lee's gonna try the eggs. He ain't happy about it. He just come in from outside. But we're gonna get an opinion from him.
Okay.
Tastes like scrambled eggs, don't it?
Yeah.
Maybe
They look
not.
like scrambled eggs too.
Well, yeah, maybe not as good as fresh, but you can't really tell the difference, can you?
Not really.
There you go. You heard it from Lee Pearson, professional food taster.
Delicious.